Greetings and salutations to you once again, one and all. It is me, the Ravenous Spectre. I'm using a new camera. It's a Sony CyberShot, so it's an actual camera now. It has nothing to do with it being a cell phone camera. Maybe the quality will be a little bit better. Maybe it won't. I don't know, but I'm hoping that this is a better alternative. If not, we'll just try something else in the future. Anyways, this video is going to be about how I feel about video games from a previous console generation that have been remade or reimagined or what have you into a newer generation. Like say for PlayStation 3 games that came out on PlayStation 4. Now, my first thought about all this was, this is freaking stupid. This is just a way to just grab people's money because they could have bought the game in the previous generation, and developers now are just trying to milk money out of those wanting to get the newer game in the new generation. Now, my whole thought on that is this. When I first heard about it, like I said, I thought it was really stupid. And as time went on, I'm like, you know what? If there's a game that I already own and it was released in if I got it from the previous generation, it was released in this generation, like from PS3 to PS4, I told myself I'm not even going to bother with it. I'm like, I already own the game. There's no reason for me to go just because it looks prettier to go and end up getting the other title or the same title on PlayStation 4. I always had that motive. But if it was a game that I never got on PlayStation 3 and it interested me on PlayStation 4, then I definitely would go ahead and buy it. Well, it seems like now, I guess I'm just really eating my words on that matter, because the thing that kind of gets to me with it is if the title is much less than what I paid for the game previously, then I really might think about actually getting it, which I actually have. I'm not paying $60 for a game that I already paid $60 for in the previous generation. That's not happening, not at all. But if the game interests me, even if I do own it or I did own it, then I may actually be willing to put out anywhere between $30 and lesser than that. No way am I paying $60. That's not happening. I paid $60 once. $60 once is all it's going to get if I buy it brand new. But if it's the other way around, if I got the game really cheap, I don't know. I probably would still want to go $30 and under, if not cheaper. It really depends. But in reality, the thing is, like I said, I've been eating my words dealing with this, because I had Tomb Raider previously on PlayStation 3. I sold it, and I was going to actually put that money towards the newer version of Tomb Raider, which I didn't do. I had Last of Us on PlayStation 3, and I sold it, and I was going to put that money towards the PlayStation 4 version, which I didn't do. Money from both of those games went towards other games. And I have Watch Dogs on PlayStation 3, but I found it like 15 to 16 bucks or something like that for PlayStation 4, and I thought to myself, this is one of those games that I really loved. I love Sleeping Dogs. I really want a sequel. And I told myself I would really love to be able to play this again. Prettier graphics, new set of trophies. Although some of those games, it's like the trophy list kind of mixed together. It's like if you have the PlayStation 3 version and you already got trophies there, you can't get them on the PlayStation 4 version. That's just what I've heard. I'm not really sure. Maybe it does that for some games, but it doesn't do it for all games. Like, for example, I ended up getting Darksiders 2. I love the Darksiders series. I really want a sequel. Love the first one on PlayStation 3. Love the second one on PlayStation 3. And I saw the second one for like 30 bucks. I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and get it. And I'm actually earning trophies on this one. Trophies that I already earned in the PlayStation 3 version, I'm earning on the PlayStation 4 version. So I'm like, okay, well, that's pretty cool. And it does look so much better. It looks so much prettier. And plus also the fact of being able to share screenshots on the PlayStation 4 and stream live gameplay is really cool. And, you know, when you share your trophies on the PlayStation 4 now, you can have the ability to attach the screenshot where the trophy popped up, which I've done that a few times before on Facebook and also with other friends, which I thought that was a really neat idea. And especially, you know, when you're streaming, you want to stream with your friends, you want to show them what's going on, and even the whole share play feature as well. I don't know if that works for all games, or maybe it works for some games. I've never tried it, I don't know. But if that option is available, it's still a really cool idea. But the thing is that it really started to get in my head when I was dealing with wanting to know whether I was really going to bother with these newer editions. And sure enough, I kind of really have. Like I said, I would get them much cheaper. Well, I did that with Darksiders too, the Definitive Edition. Oh yeah, a real good pun on words there. Ooh. Silly. And I ended up getting Tomb Raider on PlayStation 4. But I got that one for about the same price as I did Sleeping Dogs on PlayStation 4, which was like anywhere between 14 to 16 bucks. I did the exact same thing with Tomb Raider. I have some other ones on a list that I want to get later, much later down the road when they're much cheaper. Like I do want to get The Last of Us on PlayStation 4. Since I sold my PlayStation 3 version, I really do want to get that again. But I'm not getting it right now because it's still way too expensive for a game that I already paid $60 for, beat it, and I don't want to play it anytime soon, but I would still like to have it. So when it probably gets down to, I don't know, like the same price as, say, Tomb Raider or Sleeping Dogs, like anywhere between $13 to $16, and maybe I might actually fork it out. Other than that, I'm not bothering with it right now. It's not happening. It's kind of funny. Some of these newer versions are dropping faster in price than, say, The Last of Us was. And The Last of Us on PlayStation 4, I think it was kind of released somewhere around the time as maybe Sleeping Dogs and Tomb Raider. I think they were released somewhere within the same year or two. I have no clue. But it's still ridiculous how that's still more expensive. So it's not getting my money anytime soon. But I also have some other ones on my list, like, you guys are really going to think of me to be a complete idiot with this, but what can I say? I am a big Final Fantasy fan, and Final Fantasy X is one of my favorite Final Fantasies. All the haters can suck it, which I'm sure everybody's got their lovers and their haters for all the types of the Final Fantasy games. But Final Fantasy X is one of my favorite titles in the series. I have it on PlayStation 2. And then I got it on PlayStation 3 when it was Final Fantasy X and Final Fantasy X too, because I'm like, yeah, this is really cool. It's been years since I played this game, and I still own it, and it's really cool to see a new coat of paint on it with it being in HD and all of that, and trophies and whatnot. And then I realized it came out on PlayStation 4. Not probably so many months or a year or whatever it was after the PlayStation 3 version came out, and I just shook my head. I said, this is ridiculous. Well, in the future, like I mentioned for some of the previous titles, when it gets much cheaper, then I will probably actually buy it again, which means I'll have 3 versions of the exact same game, or games, if I choose to, which I don't know if you can get Final Fantasy X and Final Fantasy X-2 separated from one another. It was kind of a mistake for me to end up buying both of them in the same package. I should have just brought Final Fantasy X, because Final Fantasy X-2 is nothing but like a Japanese version of Charlie's Angels, to be quite honest, and yeah, it wasn't one of my favorites. The Dress Spirit system was interesting, which is almost like a job system, which was really cool. But other than that, no, nothing like Final Fantasy X, the original itself. The Mac Daddy of them all, the best one out of the 2. I would love to see a Final Fantasy X-3. That would be pretty sweet. Yeah, the thing is that that's just kind of my motive on it. These newer versions that are coming out, they would have to be much cheaper than the price that I bought them for, if the game actually interests me. And another thing is I have Dishonored, the original Dishonored, on PlayStation 3, which I really love, which is one of my favorite games ever, and I'm really excited for the sequel that's coming out. And of course they have that on PlayStation 4. I'm probably going to end up getting that, but like I said, not anytime soon, when it's so much cheaper. There's probably some other ones out there that I can't really recall at the moment, but that's pretty much my stance on it. If you guys happen to have any questions or comments dealing with it, then be sure to leave comments below. And other than that, I will check you taters later. Now let's see, how do I stop this thing? Let me check. Let me see. Maybe it's this button. Let's see.